Hello friends and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. If you have ever planted a shade container and then it fizzled out mid-summer, much to your disappointment, then this is the video for you. I am sharing with you today 3 shade containers that are going to last the entire season through our long growing season with the heat, the humidity, and they're only going to get bigger and more beautiful as the temperatures rise. So stay tuned because these are the plants that are the absolute workhorses in my shade garden and can take all the heat and humidity that the environment has to offer it, and they only get bigger and more beautiful as we go through. So we are going to do some really nice, simple, but stunning containers. Again, I have done these combinations for years, and I keep going back to them over and over again because they are so incredibly big, beautiful, and low maintenance. We are going to start here on the front porch. We're going to do our front porch hanging baskets. If you're a follower of Creekside Nursery, you know that I have got some ginormous hanging baskets that go on our front. So we're going to do that. This area, just to give you a little idea, is in complete shade till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it gets intense, hot afternoon sun until the sun goes down. These plants can handle it. Then we're going to go over to the side shade garden, and we are going to plant the cocoa lined wall hanging. This is going to give us gorgeous color, some thrillers, fillers, and spillers. And then last but not least, we are going to move to the hayrack that is in front of our kitchen sink. Y'all, this is a tough spot to do, but I have got the perfect solution, and this container is going to teach us a little bit of patience. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to do the front porch hanging baskets first. What we're going to use, y'all, is a combination of dragon wing begonias and diamond frost euphorbia. These plants are tough, but yet they are gorgeous. I fell in love with dragon wing, some people call them angel wing begonias, several years ago. And because they are predominantly a shade annual, all the plants we're using today are annuals, but it gives you height, and then it gives a little bit of a cascading habit. This year we're going with the white, going clean and simple for our front. So we're going to use 4 of these per hanging basket. They're massive. And then we're going to use as our filler in the center, we're going to go with that diamond frost euphorbia. This is that light and airy annual that will intermingle within these dragon wing begonias. On the tag for your diamond frost, it is going to say full to part sun. I have found in my North Carolina Zone 8A garden that they are very, very shade tolerant. So you can put them in just about any kind of sun condition, anywhere from full sun to that dappled sun, and dare I say even full shade. They will give you beautiful, light, airy color. So what we're going to do is I'm going to build one of the containers with you. So in case you want to know how to create a beautiful, long-lasting container, hanging basket, that's what we're going to do. Let me gather up all my supplies, and I'll meet you back here in just a second. All right, my friends, so what I did is I went ahead and put in the bottom third of the hanging basket, any container you can do this with, and you're going to see me do it in the other ones, is a great quality compost. This is going to help retain moisture when the roots hit it. It's a whole nother level of food for the plants. Learned this trick a couple of years ago after reading like a fine gardening magazine. It is a game changer. Then filled it with great quality potting soil. I used Proven Winners today. Went ahead and put in my Proven Winners continuous release fertilizer because Jenny is the world's worst of using water soluble fertilizer. And the great news is Diamond Frost and the Dragon Wing Begonias are not heavy feeders, so this slow release is all they really need for the season. It certainly won't hurt to use water-soluble fertilizer. I just know the reality of what's going to happen with these baskets. And then, of course, Biotone, because Biotone is that great starter fertilizer for strong, healthy roots. These baskets, y'all, they're somewhere in that 20 to 24 inch across range. They're huge. They're heavy. They have a rounded bottom. That's why it is sitting on a bucket, because that way I can easily plant. There will be, they hang from chains, and there are 4 hooks, and that matters because I am going to strategically place my Dragon Wing Begonias between the hooks. That way, when I go to hang it, it will not go ahead and snap my begonias. And then, of course, as they grow, they'll just grow around the chains and kind of, quote, swallow up the chains. I'm just trying to be a little smart in the beginning. So we're going to put 4 on the outside, and then we're going to put 2 of the Diamond Frost in the middle. And 2 years ago, I used the red Dragon Wing Begonias with the Diamond Frost. And y'all, they went the entire season. It was like October, and they were massive and gorgeous. I have no clue if you can hear or see, but the hummingbirds are fighting because I just filled up the feeder above me, and they are just going to town. Could not be a happier gardener right now hearing my hummingbirds fuss over the food. They got plenty of food. I got feeders everywhere and plants everywhere. But if you love hummers as much as I do, then you know what kind of joy that brings you to hear them fussing in your garden. Before I put in the final Dragon Wing, I am going to go ahead and add in my Diamond Frost. Now, next time I do this, because I got 3 more of these hanging baskets to go, I probably will start with the Diamond Frost, and then I will add in the begonias last, because I have been having the begonias sit here on the porch with me for the past 10 days, getting a little acclimated to this area, and they have grown so much. So if you are looking for a nice, elegant, easy, low maintenance, high performing container, I highly encourage you to do this. Now, you could do the red begonia, you could do the pink begonia. The color does not matter, but the combo is absolutely classic and phenomenal. So it is as easy as that. We put it in there, and boom, there you go, my friends. So this is going to grow and get massive and trail over. The begonias and the Diamond Frost are going to intermingle with one another. It will be gorgeous. So what I'm going to do is, because these suckers are heavy and large and awkward, no one person could hang them by themselves. And so I'm going to enlist some help, get them hung up, get the other 3 made, and then I'll meet you back here and show you the final result as they hang on the front porch. Alrighty, my friends, so the 4 hanging baskets on the front porch, complete. They are planted, they are watered, they've got the irrigation hooked up. We got it going on, my friends. Now, a very important thing when we're talking about doing containers, even the landscaping for the shade, not are we only, one, obviously you need to make sure that they are shade tolerant annuals, but we need to make sure that they're heat tolerant, because not all shade plants are created equal. We've got some fantastic shade annuals out there, but they're not all heat tolerant. The ones we're talking about today are heat tolerant, humidity tolerant, bug tolerant, not divas in the garden. These are these great plants. Let me show you what they look like. We'll look at it from the porch side, and then we'll go out and take a look from the inside. Outside, inside. You know what I mean. There we go. All right, so you're going to have to just trust me that these are going to fill in magnificently well. We are not planting for day one. We are planting for longevity. Now, these dragon wings, they are already a good size. Like, I am very happy with the size that they are. You can actually see them from the driveway. Those pure white flowers with that little bit of the yellow in the center is just going to be so sweet and so elegant in here. Now, I did say that there was a drip irrigation. You can see that tube. I joke and say that that's one of the best things that Jerry ever did for me, was installed drip irrigation for my hanging baskets. So there's a solid line coming down to the basket, and then there is the little brown micro tubing that has emitters about every 6 inches that wraps around the inside. Because we are in a severe drought, now not that these will get rained on, obviously, because they're underneath the front porch, but the air is so incredibly dry, and I'm trying to get these established. They will get watered every day for about 15 minutes. Now, you can see from the video that I took of the irrigation, we're not talking about like a massive amount of water that is pouring in to the baskets from the irrigation. It's a nice, slow, steady drip, which is actually really good because that means all of the soil is soaking up that moisture. Because when we come out in the morning, I don't have a wet spot on the concrete. It's all soaked in to the basket. Now, a little design tip. We use, of course, the dragon wing whites, and we use the diamond frost. Guess what's in the urns? That's right, my friends. In the urns, I use the exact same plants. So I have 2 of the white dragon wings and 2 of the diamond frost. And I just added, can you see those little spikes right there? We just got in a delivery of pre-sprouted caladiums. This is creme brulee. Keep that in the back of your brain because we're going to talk about this again. But design tip is repeat those same plants so we have them on the urns and we have them in the hanging baskets. Brenna is very excited that I rinsed off the porch and is loving that we are working in the shade today because it is quite warm here in North Carolina. Let me show you what it looks like from the outside looking in. Now, it may be a little challenging to see them because after all, they are in the shade, but they're there. These baskets make a huge presence. I got them from Kinsman Garden Company. You know how much I love that store. They make just the highest quality of materials. And in fact, these liners have been the original liners because they are so thick and hold up year after year that I have not had to replace them yet. So hanging baskets done. Now we're moving on to the wall hanging. My friends, every time that I plant this container and I show it to you, I tell you this is like the hardest spot to film because it is really an awkward place to film. But when we started developing our gardens, I knew I wanted something on this wall. I'll show you the big picture here in a minute, but it's going to make sense. Just bear with me. As we know, it's a little bit of a challenge. Here we have a flat wall hanging planter, again from Kinsman Garden Company. Nice wrought iron, great cocoa liner. Love this. It makes a huge statement on this otherwise very blank and boring wall. Sun-wise, because I like to tell you what the sun conditions are. This stays in basically complete and total shade except for about maybe 2 hours here in just a little bit. And that is because of the roof line. So as the sun goes over the house, we have a little break in the roof line, and this will get good intense sun for about 2 hours. All the plants that we are using obviously are shade-loving annuals, very, very heat tolerant, and they are going to give us thrilling foliage, gorgeous flowers, and then a beautiful spiller at the end because we're going for color, texture, and yes, even movement in this container. So what we have first, this is Pegasus Begonia. If you are not growing Pegasus, you are missing out. It is definitely rated for part shade to shade, 12 to 18 inches tall. This is a foliage only plant. So we are going to plant it directly in the center in the back of this wall hanging. Now, you saw me, I did the exact same thing that I did with my hanging baskets in the fact of we put the compost in the bottom, fresh soil on the top, then we worked in the biotone and the control release fertilizer. We're planting for longevity, not for day one. This Pegasus is going to get up, it is going to get coming out of the top, and it is going to fill in on the sides, working its way through the wires of the frame of the container. Now what we're doing for flower power, this is the Double Delight Primrose. The Double Delight Begonias, can you tell we have a theme here? Who are the heat tolerant, no divas in the garden but give us great plants? The begonias do. So once I understood how to grow the Double Delights, my life was changed as a gardener for my shade gardens. This is from Proven Winners. There is a series of the Double Delights. Primrose is going to be a beautiful, very nice, soft, romantic yellow. The back side of it starts a little pink, and then as the flowers open up, they are a lovely yellow. 8 to 14 inches. It is rated on the tag full to part sun. If you are in cooler climates, I am talking like zones 6 and cooler, I am sure you could probably plant this in full sun and be just fine. If you're in zones 7 and higher, you're gonna fry. That's what the very first time I grew the Double Delights, I put it in a full afternoon, like all day hot sun container. They fried. Out of frustration, I picked the container up, I put it on the side of the building, it went into the shade, and they exploded, and they were gorgeous. So in the south, with our heat and humidity, these are going to be shade plants. They are going to get nice and big. They are going to trail over. Massive double blooms, big pop of color. I will be repeating this begonia in my other hay rack here in the next week or so. So we're tying in all the containers. So we have our thrillers, our fillers, and now we need a spiller. Y'all, Dichondra Silver Falls. This is a Creekside champion. It is a quart. It is a massive, big, beautiful beast of a trailing plant. The thing is, when I say it's a beast, is it is not going to be tall. It is like maybe 3 inches tall. The beast part comes in the fact of how it trails. It is going to absolutely spill over, come down. I'm probably even going to have to trim it some later on this summer. But you get these beautiful, like little, I don't even know how to describe the leaves, but they are this gorgeous silver that will reflect the same color in the Pegasus. It's going to get a little height to it, like I said, and then trail over big time. It will come into like almost a V all the way down and make a huge impact. So we're going to have the height and the foliage and color of the Pegasus, the flowers and the color from the Double Delight Primrose, and then the beautiful spilling of the Dichondra Silver Falls. As far as watering goes, I have a hose link just right beside of me, so that makes it really easy. And so in the heat of the summer, even though this is a shade container, I have put 4 plants in here. They will completely take up this soil, so I will be watering it once a day. And so once a day in the morning, I just take my hose, fill it up, let it drain out, boom, there you go. Easy peasy as that. Of course, we'll get it well watered in right now. And then we're moving on to the last container of the day. This is going to teach you a little bit of patience, but it is going to pay off huge as we go through the total heat and humidity of the summer. Cannot wait to see this container together. All right, my friends. Now, this is going to be a lesson in you're going to have to trust me, all right? Trust Jenny. What we're going to do is in this is like a half circle hay rack in front of, this is where our kitchen sink is, so you know how much time I spend washing dishes and cleaning, so I look out this all the time. We're going to fill this with caladiums. Yes, my friends, caladiums are a southern gardener's best friend. Does not matter if you've got sun or you've got shade. Here, we're actually going to have a little bit of both. This gets full sun until about noon, 1 o'clock, and then it goes into complete and total shade for the afternoon. That is why caladiums are my best friend. We are using 2 caladiums from Proven Winners. Y'all, the first one is my absolute favorite caladium, hands down. Brand new this year. If you see it, you need to grab it. What is it? It is Heart to Heart Creme Brulee. Last year, I was blessed to get my hands on some corms. I think you were with us when Emily and I planted them, potted them up. Y'all, these are stunning caladiums. The creme brulee is going to be considered that part shade to shade, 14 to 16 inches tall, and we're going to pair it with a really fun contrast, Burning Heart. Burning Heart is also going to be sun tolerant, so it works really well. It is going to be a beautiful, as its name suggests, a deep, moody, reddish maroon that is going to pull the colors out of creme brulee. It will be 15 to 20 inches. So we're going to plant them intermingled with one another. So when they come up and they are in all of their glory, they are going to just be intertwined with one another. Now, this is where I say you're going to have to trust me, people, because as you can see, there is no foliage right now. This is what we call a sprouted caladium. So we're going to try to see if the camera can pick up on that. Can you see the little spikes? That means that the corms have woken up. We've got beautiful roots coming out the bottom. They are good to go. They are ready to be potted up. But this, yes, is going to teach us patience. This is not going to be an instant, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous kind of container. We're going to watch this one grow and develop in the coming weeks. So if you have caladiums and they are pre-sprouted like this, you can go ahead and plant them in a container or the landscape. Caladiums are going to be one of those annuals that thrives. It needs the humidity. It needs the heat. This is why caladiums don't do really well in dry, arid environments, because they are very tropical. These are grown out in a field, wide open field in like South Florida. If you've ever been to South Florida in the summertime, you know how oppressive the humidity is. This is where they love to grow. So for me in North Carolina, not probably quite as oppressive as Florida, but sometimes I feel like we are. This is a great plant for me to use in containers, hanging baskets, and the landscape. Now, why in the world did I choose just to do caladiums? So can you see that chartreuse right there on the ground? That is a Sun King. In fact, there are 2 of them, Aurelia Sun Kings, a beautiful foliage-only perennial that is that chartreuse color. Y'all, once it gets going, it's a little slow this year because it's so incredibly dry. These Sun Kings literally get up to here and you don't even see this basket. I have a hummingbird that just flew to the feeder. I love this time of year. So the Sun Kings come up here. So I need mounding. I don't need any trailing because the trailing will interfere and get all tangled up in the Sun Kings. So this is where you have to be a student of your own garden and understand where your container is, the sun, what's around it, and then plant accordingly. So I have 3 of each. These are quart-sized containers, and I'm literally just going to alternate a creme brulee and a burning heart back and forth until I fill this whole container in. I want to give you a little bit of a rundown on these two containers here and kind of show you how all of this ties in design-wise to the entire garden here and to the front porch. But choosing those heat-tolerant plants that love the humidity also, but are not divas, workhorses, they are going to make your one, life so much easier this summer, and two, it's going to make your garden so incredibly gorgeous. These literally will go the entire summer, y'all. There are certain plants, Super Tungus, I'm looking at you, baby, that do not go through the entire heat and humidity of the summer. It's just an environmental issue. When you're in the south with that high heat, high humidity, the cool weather plants tend to kind of peter out. That's why we turn to these great, reliable, heat-tolerant, I would dare even say drought-tolerant, humidity-loving annuals that absolutely thrive and give us gorgeous color and texture and movement in the garden. So let me give you a quick little tour of this space with these containers and show you one that I did in the fall that is looking so pretty. Like, I hate to pull it out, but I'm gonna have to do it here in the next week or two so I can get my summer annuals in. So here is the entire side garden. You can see where the sun, like I was telling you, is getting ready to peek over the peak of the house. That is that little nook right there. So that sun that you see with the ascot rainbow, it is going to make its way around, and then it is going to hit the wall hanger right there. So this is, I think, makes it a little bit more sense now that you can see where and why I have this wall hanging on there, because that wall is completely blank, and then once everything grows in, fills in, it makes a huge statement as you're coming down the driveway. I cannot wait to see this fill in. It is going to be absolutely gorgeous with the Pegasus, with the Double Delight Primrose, and then of course the Silver Falls. Gonna be lovely. Before we go any further, every time I feature my hay racks on the house, people always are very concerned about how I damage the siding of our house. So just to put your minds at ease, we have hardy plank siding, which is a cement product. So it looks like wood, but it's not wood. It's a cement product. Yes, there might be a little stain that happened. I get my Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, it comes right off. So I don't have to worry about it rotting the wood because it's not wood, it's cement. There you go. There is one more hay rack that we have in this garden that I planted in the fall, y'all, and I just can't bring myself to take it apart right now because it looks so good. In the wintertime, this is in complete and total shade. So I went with a euchera, some ajuga that is just on the end of its blooming, and then one of my all-time favorite perennials, ascot rainbow. And all I did was just kind of repeat that theme through here, but they have done such a beautiful job hanging in there, filling in, giving me pops of color. Even through the dead of winter, this was all evergreen and doing so well. But I am going to need to go ahead and pull this out in probably the next week so that I can get my summer annuals in. And then to continue the design, what I'm planning on putting in here is one Pegasus Begonia, more of the Double Delight Primroses, and then I'm thinking I'm going to put in some Dragon Wing Begonias. I don't know if I'm going to do pink or white yet. We'll see. But it'll be fun. But that'll be the idea for this. So again, all of the garden has some sort of repeating design in it, and it all ties together. But I just wanted to share with this sweet evergreen shade container. Went through the winter, early spring, fantastic, and is doing great. All these are perennials, so when I take them out, they're going to go straight in the landscape. All right, so we have that wall hanging, and then as we come, we have the, quote, empty looking container here in front of the kitchen sink. Again, these Sun Kings are going to get absolutely massive, and I think the reason that they get so big is because they are right below this hay rack, and I have to water it quite frequently. And so they get all of that delicious water that drips off of the hay rack onto them, and they are very, very happy. So there you can see my little sprouts. They're all in there. I did 4 on the back and then 2 on the front. This is obviously not on irrigation, but an easy way to do it is when the Sun Kings get huge is I can just open up my window and I just stick my little nozzle out there and I can water it that way. Design wise for this bed, just to kind of tie everything in together. Of course, we've got the Pegasus on the wall. I also have some Pegasus in the landscape. So I did add my annuals in here yesterday. If you see the little wire cloche, those are where the creme brulees are. So again, they have just sprouted. So I put them in here, let them go ahead and start growing. I think they've actually grown overnight. But I put the cloche on there, 1, so I would remember, and 2, so a certain 4-legged creature of mine does not come through and step on them and absolutely destroy them. So I've also got the Broalia in here and some double impatience. Everything though is just absolutely lush and delicious. I know some of you are going to probably ask, y'all, I found the cutest little solar powered fountain for this bird bath. I will link it. I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever. It is the cutest little thing, and it comes with all these different kinds of nozzles, so you can get different kinds of sprays. I've settled on this one because it doesn't splash as much. There's one that's a beautiful fountain that sprays up high, but in these kinds of temperatures and with the wind, I was having to fill it up like 3 times a day. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I like the little bubble, and it has a nice long cord. So I can have my bird bath in the shade and then put the little solar panel in the full sun. And it has a little battery, so it runs. Y'all, it's fantastic. Love this thing. So anyway, so we've got Pegasus in the wall hanging. We've got Pegasus in the ground. We've got creme brulee in the hay rack by the kitchen sink. We've got creme brulee in the landscape, and then we even have creme brulee on the front porch. So it is all tying in together. I hope I have given you some ideas and some encouragement. If you have a very long growing season like I do, and it can be kind of disheartening where, you know, halfway through the summer and your containers, they just peter out and the plants are just struggling. You know, it's not always about the gardener. Some plants are just built more for the heat and humidity than others. And all of these plants that I have shared with you today, I have used for years and years. They have proven themselves to be great workhorses, great performers, stunning foliage and color and texture in the garden, literally until your freeze and your frost. I am not exaggerating. They do last that long and are stunning. They only get better with age, my friend. And so, again, you can use these in containers. You can use them in hanging baskets. You can use them directly in the ground. So everything that I showed you, if you don't have a container and you want to put it in the landscape, put it in the landscape. It'll do great, I promise. So again, hope you have found it fun, informative, inspirational. Of course, I will keep you updated on how everything is doing and filling in. It's going to be a beautiful summer. It's also very dry, so I have got to go ahead and water this bed because I have got some plants that are not happy because they are thirsty. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.